Well, personal log. It's about 7:02 in the morning, West Coast time. It's 22nd of April, Wednesday, 2026. Last night before hitting the sack. I mean, for another time, actually. I was seeing some videos about how my valley was and how it's looking right now and how it's still kicking my ass. Memory wise, feelings wise, everything. Nostalgia's kicking my ass on this one. If I could look at Google Maps right now, why the hell not? Why the hell not? Okay, so I can do Google Maps, but I was also going to be doing Google Earth. It's an old program that Google had, and I use it from time to time just to see what the hell's going on. Because I feel it's necessary for me to see what things looked like back then compared to what now looks like. And my computer's still waking up on this one. Doesn't like to be disturbed a little bit. But I can't do Google Maps on the phone because I'm doing this. You can only run one app at a time. Well, it's an old phone. It doesn't multitask. But I wish it could. Because I would want to see and be nostalgic about it and just look at the past and just feel like I'm older than Methuselah. If I would direct a viewer to look at Google Map and then if he actually had access to the program, I don't know if it works or not these days, Google Earth Pro. I'm trying to get both programs to work on my laptop right now because I wanted to do a comparison, PDFs if I could, about what places used to look like and depressed the living crap out of me. Last night I was looking at postings on social media. There's a lot of remember when places back then. And they would tell me about what places looked like and what they looked like then and how they're affecting me. Why they should be affecting me? Well, it does. Because my coffee cup bringeth. There'll be not a click and a pause. No, there'll just be a continuing recording. But you're just going to watch the bug war if it happens to cross the screen. So give me a minute here. I want my coffee. coffee? Oh, sure, it still tastes the same. Well, we enjoyed the bug show. All right, here we are. In my videos, I was wrong about the cup. It takes about almost 2 cups of hot water. And if you just put powdered cream instead of milk. But still, that's coffee. Sugary stuff. So, about to Google. I didn't use Google all that much a long time ago, but these days it's almost mandatory sometimes. But if I could look at what the globe looks like way back when, I can do the Google Maps and see what it looks like for the last time they took pictures. But to see an activity, it's a different story altogether. I do the Google Earth to look at things that have been changed and what have they done and what haven't they done on it. The area I'm looking at right now is an area that I used to work at. And it hasn't changed, except there's no destruction on the property, or had there been? No, just hadn't been. But there's been destruction on the property of Blue Cross, California. What used to be called the Aranda Center, and I'm going to get a picture of this because I need it for my own records of what it looks like even last year or years earlier. When I could look at department stores, I can look at eateries, I can look at a movie theater, I could see traffic. And the traffic of it being empty, or traffic around it, and seeing the place that I used to work at, well, it's depressing as hell. Called this about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It looks like it's abandoned. So let's store this thing under a PDF. So it's just say it's about 224. Because it just gives me something to work with here. At least on the Google Earth Pro. But then we're talking about other things that are going to be mattering the most too. It hurts when I look at stuff like this. Because a lot of things have changed since I left the San Fernando Valley. Actually, they had been changing and mutating, and I never even wasn't paying attention to it as much as I should have. Because it's part of the areas that I worked and lived in, and it was like home for me. So it was home. My family moved out of the San Fernando Valley back in '05 to the Antelope Valley. And for about less than a year, I was busing it to the San Fernando Valley, to what they call the Warner Center, which was part of Woodland Hills, had its own zip code. But the Woodland Hills was pretty damn big. Many companies, industrial, some private homes, apartment complexes, hotels. It was a pretty intense area. If you had the money, you'd be living in there. And if you had work in those places, service sectors, manufacturing, hospital, retail, which is also part of the service sector. I mean, yeah, it's income generated in the service sector. I mean, at one point of Woodland Hills / Warner Center had, well, it was also connected to, let's see, northern portion of Canoga Park in the north, and Calabasas on the extreme west. There's a place called Winnetka. It actually had the border. I don't know where the hell that border was, but I was waiting for the computer to work on the printing thing. It's trying to prepare, which means it's not awake yet. Said before, it's not alive this morning. Unlike me, which I'm barely alive anyway. I look at the memories in front of me. Used to work what they call the Aranda Center on Orange and Canoga. Actually, Oxnard. What am I saying, Orange? Oxnard. It's been too long. And my eyes still need to be tested, I guess. Call center, administrative center for Blue Cross. Part of it anyway. Customer service, processing. Used to be where the CEO of WellPoint, before he got taken over by New York Anthem, they had it bought out, so they had to shut down operations slowly but surely, which meant all the call center operations were being farmed out to different states or maintained out in New York. I was going to be among the many who were going to be farmed out. Actually, not transferred, but just laid off. And almost a decade later, or more than a decade later, the property would be used, torn apart, to be the LA Rams training center. The current picture that I have for Google Earth shows the parking lot being destroyed, plowed over. The building itself, I don't know what the hell they're going to do with it. But they also needed the entire property of Promenade. That was between Irwin and Oxnard, sandwiched between a Banga and Canoga. No, not just Canoga. It was just going to be plowed over. I remember the Promenade Mall when I was working over at the Blue Cross Aranda Center, they called it. If I wanted a cheap lunch, I'd go over to McDonald's over there. Problem is, they had two McDonald's in the area that competed with each other. Both within walking distance, but one was across the street. The other one wasn't. And in the mall, they also had a deli, a New York deli, they called it. Huge sandwiches. You get a half a sandwich, get some soup, that'd be lunch right there. Or just a couple of sandwiches, just one whole sandwich, cut it in half. Get your fries. They did a lot of remodeling when I was there. And they used to have an area, turnstile area, that had a mail center. Get your stamps, mail and stuff. There would be a post office box for there. And a roundabout area, right in the middle of it. That they changed that damn place so many times. When I was living in the San Fernando Valley, it wasn't even funny. I'm looking at old places that I used to hang out with. Used to be manufacturing. A lot of homes in the area for Woodland Hills and Winnetka. On the corner edge of Winnetka, on the east side of the Warner Center. College that I went to. Part of the property was sold off to help keep this college alive, and they used it for apartments. You still have the college there. It's called Pierce College. No. No, not Pierce College. Pierce College. Yeah, it is Pierce College. Good Lord, I'm losing it. I mean, this is what happens when I can't even remember half the stuff I'm trying to talk about because it's right in front of me, and yet I don't recognize it anymore. What the hell is this? I'm getting too damn old for this shit. I remember there used to be an aerospace company that had a shuttle engine in front of its entranceway to the company, plowed over 25 years ago. Empty lot. Nothing built there. I feel my age when I look at the valley. I look at the age when I'm looking at what I used to live in. I can't help it. Places used to be home, and it's hard as hell to reconcile that, to deal with it. That it used to be places. The memories are there in my head. Sometimes they're faded out and sometimes they're not. But I feel like I should know all of this. And I feel like I'm tearing myself apart over it. Because I can't think of it anymore. I can't feel like I'm part of it anymore. I feel like I'm old and destitute. That's what I feel like. I can look at the Google Earth and try to go back in time to see what things looked like, and that really tears me apart when it comes down to nostalgia. And that's what it's doing to me, is nostalgia of the West Valley. Things I remembered and things are gone, and how the hell am I supposed to be able to deal with this shit? I don't know anymore. God's honest truth, I don't know anymore. Because the things I remember are back in the past. And it gets to me. It gets to me. I'm trying to get a reset here of what I need. The Warner Center in Woodland Hills. And what places used to look like. And that I feel like I'm old and worn out here. Call it 2020. Yeah, we'll just call it that. I was trying to say Pierce College, and it is Pierce College. Because I've been there about 2 years, or 2.5 years actually, off and on. And it's where I went to school at. And the Aranda Center, I kept saying, is because I've been there for about 6 to 7 years. I count working as a temp for about 1 year before I made permanent, as part of my experience in living and working over there. So yeah, the Promenade had made changes to some of the stores and reworked outside, but not the mall completely. But throughout the years when I was working there, they were losing clients. They were losing shops. The movie theater, the AMC, was still bringing in people, and they still had a few eateries, you know, that would still keep some of the rent going, but they were crashing and burning at this point. And it feels like whatever life I had a long time ago faded away. Just completely faded away. I no longer feel the emotional impact of the complete wipeout of a lot of areas in this place. Data no longer has any meaning. And I'll tell you something, it sucks, because it did have meaning for me. It did have meaning for me. When I was living in the valley and going through it and going through a lot of places, it meant something to me. It meant home. But as time's going by, I'm slowly feeling that connection. I'm losing the memories on that. I'm losing the importance of what it means to me. And it sucks. They're going through a lot of changes. A lot of people have been living in there for all their lives, and to them it's just home. Being forced out of the valley because of rent situations. It also does something to me because it means it's no longer home. And it's gone. It's gone. I mean, the valley physically is there, but the things I remember regarding the valley is a lot, and those things are gone. That used to mean something. Kind of sucked because I had fun. I had fun in a lot of places in that area. Right above the Pierce College area, a street called Mason. It had, was it Mason? No. Van Owen. Van Owen and Winnetka still have it over there. Bowling alley. It was a place to hang out between classes. You had a bike, walk, you get to the classes on time. Of course, they changed the layout of the Topanga Mall, where one could actually play arcades before, during, and after classes. And had a food court in there as well, not to mention several major stores. But I didn't do those things when I was working at Blue Cross. Work your ass off in the call center, that's about it. Want food, you got the cafeteria to go to. They had their own little cafeteria there. Expensive, but feed your ass anyway. Some of it I can feel connections to. When I saw the Topanga Promenade, I'm losing it. I know I'm losing it. Inside, it's like I'm not trying to cry over the damn thing. I just feel like it's an empty loss, memories taken away, and a dull ache. That's what it is, it's a dull ache. Sometimes nostalgia sucks. But if there is a heaven, no, I know there's going to be heaven up there, but if I was allowed to go to heaven, I would hope that somehow be a copy of the earth in there. Places where people went and lived their lives. That'd be places I'd be visiting all over again. And maybe have a cry. Because here, I'm not having a cry just yet. I may get triggered about it, but it's like dealing with a kick in the gut right now. All the changes happening to the place. Because most of it is destroyed. The Promenade Mall. Everything. Everything. That being said.